Hello, it is Reviews Day Tuesday, and today I am going to review Beauty and the Beast, the live-action film adaptation of the Disney animation. It stars Emma Watson as Belle, Dan Stevens as the Beast, and Luke Evans as Gaston, and also in the cast are Kevin Kline, Josh Gad, Audra McDonald, Ewan McGregor, Ian McKellen, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Stanley Tucci and Emma Thompson. I was a fan of the original as a kid. I have it on video. I watched this video last week in preparation for seeing the film yesterday. Kids go free to Euro Disney. Buy before October 31st, 1993. I think we've missed out on that one, guys. So I was a little concerned about this film because it seems a bit superfluous, and now having seen the film I would say that it still feels a bit superfluous, but I would also say that I did enjoy the film and I'm glad I saw it. The new adaptation is about 50 minutes longer at 2 hours and 9 minutes. There are a few new songs and some additions to the story. We see more of the witch who casts the spell on the Beast, for instance. She was played by Hattie Morahan actually, who I love, and I didn't even know that she was in the film until I read the cast list yesterday before watching it. So we see more of the Beast's life before he becomes the Beast, which I think made him more sympathetic to the viewer earlier on in the film, and it meant that we got to see more of Dan Stevens away from all of the Beast CGI, because in this adaptation he's not a small child when he's cursed, he's older, and it isn't 10 years since he was cursed. I don't think it is specified how much time has passed. Oh, and a great thing as well is that the village is also cursed to forget the Beast and the other inhabitants of the castle who are transformed into furniture and things. I like that. I think it made the story make a bit more sense. We also had more of the relationship between Belle and her father, I think, and more information about Belle's mother, and Belle seemed to have more to do in her provincial life. She was inventing, she was teaching young girls to read. I also like that in this version Belle and her father come to the little village from Paris, which adds a bit more depth to Belle's frustration with her small world because she knows of another. I like that this film was really a full-blown musical. You know, with Cinderella they removed the musical numbers, but with this one they added more. It was a very high percentage of musical numbers, which I am a fan of. I really enjoyed the new version of Be Our Guest with Ewan McGregor as Lumiere, and I enjoyed Gaston as well, performed by Josh Gad and Luke Evans. I was really impressed with Luke Evans, especially in this film, playing Gaston, who is kind of one of the biggest Disney villains to me. I feel like he was perfectly cast and his singing voice was great. Him and Audra McDonald were definitely the most qualified for the musical numbers. They were the safest pairs of hands. Speaking of, I found the use of auto-tune, I guess, on Emma Watson's voice specifically to be quite distracting. There's a difference between supporting an artist's voice and distorting it, and I found some kind of robotic tones in her numbers which were a bit grating, which is a shame because she does have a nice pure voice. Maybe it doesn't have that much strength or range, but I feel like it could have been more sympathetically supported by auto-tune or whatever. Of the new songs, I was underwhelmed by them, to be honest, when watching the film, but I've listened to the soundtrack twice now, which is on the Disney Vivo YouTube channel thing, and they have grown on me. Dan Stevens had his own number, Evermore, which I am glad of. It was sung in his Beast voice though, which is deeper and more inhuman, I guess, than his own, so I would have liked a little refrain or something when he was human so that we could hear his human voice as well. And a moment that really touched me was in Kevin Kline's little song as Maurice, How Does a Moment Last Forever, which is another new song and which returns later on in the film. But I really loved that. That was one of the few moments in the film that I found, I guess, moving, and it was really early on in the film as well. It was kind of like the first time we saw that character. The only other real moment when I was moved in the film was at the end when, I guess this is a spoiler, although it's not a spoiler if you've seen the animation, when the people cursed to be furniture turn into actual furniture. You know, Mrs. Potts becomes a teapot and Lumiere becomes a candelabra. Even though I knew that everything was going to be fine later, I did find that more moving than I expected, especially Chip, and when Ian McKellen said, "Oh no," that stuck with me, that "oh no." I really loved the opening and closing moments of the film and how they mirrored each other. You know, we had Audra McDonald singing and a big opulent ball scene. Those are my other favourite moments. So I did like this film, I did enjoy it. I did feel like something was missing, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I keep comparing it to the live-action Cinderella, which I loved so much. I feel like on paper I should prefer Beauty and the Beast because 1, I prefer the original animation more, and 2, Cinderella removed the songs, whereas Beauty and the Beast kept them and added more. And I love a big opulent musical, but I preferred Cinderella by some margin. I think I just found it more magical, and maybe it surprised me more. I don't No, that's a good thing to put in a review. I don't know. You know, I liked this film. If you fancy seeing it, I would recommend it. It's high quality and entertaining, and the score and the music is good, and it has big musical numbers, and the cast works so hard. But I wouldn't give it any awards or say it's groundbreaking or that you must see this. It's a very different twist on the story that we all know. Because that's the thing. I feel like it's trying to be a new twist on the tale. It's trying to give us something new, but I don't feel like it's brave enough. It's kind of in this weird space between being a very loyal and respectful adaptation and being a new, exciting spin on the tale, offering the viewer something else. That may be my problem. I feel like it didn't choose. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I would love to know what you think about this film if you have seen it, and also how you feel about the original animation. I'd be interested to know how a person's knowledge of or love of the original animation would affect their enjoyment of or interpretation of this film. Anyway, I will give Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 film, 3.9 out of 5. That's it for today. I will be back. When will I be back? I think Friday. I think Friday will be my next video. So I hope you have a great week until then, and I will see you soon.